Now more than ever, it's important to have multiple income stream. This current challenge, the world has shown us that no job is secure. By having a multiple income stream, it brings us a sense of financial security as well as greater sustainability for your ventures and vision. Welcome to the Creative Monday Discussion Show. I am your host, Mervin Budram, and we are creatives transforming lives. Welcome back to the Creative Monday Discussion Show. It's great to be with you guys another evening, another Monday. I am your host, Mervin Budram, and I will be with you for the next hour. I'm really excited about tonight's episode. It's very dear to my heart. It's something that I practice. Tonight episode, we are speaking with a business expert who has capitalized on several income streams, and he will share his personal entrepreneurial story as well as lessons learned. And so if you are here and you know of someone that, especially in this time that they're trying to get a grip on different opportunities for generating revenues, passive income in this time, and even learning some of the thought process, the mindset to think about and keep in your heart as you're going through that, like, invite them to tune in tonight. We want to know where you're tuned in from. Invite your friends to connect in. I want to say good night to Leslie. Good night. She's one of our regular. We've had her on the show before, so shout out to Let's. And again, I want to encourage you guys. We want to know where you're tuned in from. We have friends here on Facebook, on YouTube, and as well as on TNC. We want to welcome those watching on TNC live here in Belize. And we also have some friends watching in Antigua and Barbuda on Soar Rice TV, as well as in Europe and the Caribbean area on Carib Invest TV. So we want to say good night, greetings, welcome to the show. We hope that this episode will energize you, will inspire you, will motivate you, and help transform your lives. But before we jump into our guests, I just want to let you know that this episode was brought to you by In Our Films. In Our Films is a 2D animation firm here in Belmopan, and they're doing really awesome work in the animation space. All right, and welcome back again. And if you loved that little animation, reach out to In Our Films. They do some really great work, great animation work here, and they're based right here in Belize, in Belmopan area. Also, if you want to find out how you can advertise on this program, on this the Creative Monday Discussion Show, go to our website, creativemondayshow.com. Click on the contact us page and reach out to us and find out how you can become a premium sponsor on this show. So I don't wanna waste time. I wanna hop in. Before we do that though, we wanna jump to our 101 segment. Last week we introduced the 101 segment, and for the entire month of September, we're focusing on accounting. In our last season, a lot of people were coming with a lot of accounting questions and say, hey, we want to learn more in how to manage our finance and get some financial education, financial literacy as business owners. So we reached out for this month to one of our experts, and he gave us quite a few awesome answers. And so tonight, one of the questions that came in is from Kat Jules, Julissa, and she was asking the accountant. She said, if you had 3 or 4 or a few basic principles that you would govern and hold fast in your business, what would it be? And so tonight we're going to have that answer from Mr. Abner, our expert on the 101.
Definitely cash management. You have heard the saying, cash is king, and many businesses, even large corporations, sometimes are making very high profits, but they are struggling because of cash management. So having a system to track cash, having a budget against which you constantly check your cash balances against your forecasted, so that you can make adjustments to your cash flows on time. Another good strategy is to maintain a cash flow worksheet. It's simply a sheet where you record your cash balances, and you could also incorporate in there short-term projections of what cash you have coming in, what cash you have coming out around in the near future, so that you're better able to know if you are in a cash flow position or you're good. Another strict item that I would adhere to is proper accounts receivable management. Many businesses have failed because accounts receivable have killed them. You want to be nice, you want to give people credit, but you also have to make sure you have systems in place to manage it. One of the systems that I highly recommend is making sure you have signed agreements with every customer. In the event that they default, at least you have something signed that you can take to a collection agent, or at sometimes even court, depending on the amount. Another strategy is to make sure you do constant and timely follow-up. Send your bills on time, and make sure you have somebody designated that is constantly following up on payment when it's due from your customers.
All right, and that is the 101 on accounting for this month. And every week we're going to release a new video. We're answering questions. And if you have a question, if you want to submit a topic that you want us to focus on next month's 101, go to thecreativemondyshow.com, as well visit our contact us page there, and you can submit your questions, submit your feedback. You can also go to our Creative Monday Show Facebook page, our Instagram page, our WhatsApp as well, and just send in and submit your questions. We want to hear from you guys. This show is for you. It's to help inspire you. It's to help motivate you. It's to help transform your lives. And we're continually looking for ways to do that, right? And so again, we want to thank you guys for making this show your show. We want to hear from you guys. Click those likes, send those comments, show some love. Let us know that you're tuned in. Let us know that you're engaged. Let us know that what we're talking about is connecting with you as well. And so even as we bring our guests on, if you have questions, you have comments, feel free to chime in and be a part of the discussion, right? So as I mentioned, without any further ado, we want to move forward. We want to bring our guest on. He is someone I've known for years. He's actually a friend of mine. I've known him since I was probably maybe 12 or 13. He used to be my barber when I came to Belmopan, and I've watched him go from kind of having a barber shop, then start to supply barbering equipment and to all over the country, then having multiple ventures that he's doing, right? And so I'm very excited, guys, to introduce to you Mr. Sheldon Arnold as we bring him on the screen. He's our expert for tonight, and he will share with us his entrepreneurial journey and help us get a better pulse on what to think about when you're thinking about multiple income streams. Sheldon, good evening. Welcome to the Creative Monday Discussion Show.
Good evening, Mervin. It's a pleasure for me to be here. Thank you. Thank the sponsors. And I'm here to share my story.
Awesome. Well, Sheldon, as I said earlier, we've known each other for quite a few time, for a while. And take us a little bit back. Like, where did it all start for you? Because right now you are to me, you are a man who have your hands in quite a few things, and they're moving, they're striving, they're growing. So talk to us a little bit about where did it all start for you?
Okay. First of all, yes, I have been fortunate. I have been blessed to be able to keep most of the ventures that I have been involved in, to keep them going. So I'm grateful for that. To talk about the beginning, it's going to be a long story. We probably need more than the hour. But to go way back, whenever I share this story, I think about the first steps, which are definitely mom and dad.
Yeah.
Mom, instilling the discipline, instilling the faith, instilling the values, making sure that I pick up after myself. I make my bed. I help with the dishes. I help with the washing of the clothes, etc. Going to church. Listening. Developing the mind to receive information, and so. It starts there. It continued with dad. Dad has been a pioneer in many things, in my opinion, and he has taught me diligence. He has taught me versatility. I have seen dad the carpenter. I have seen dad the mason. I have seen dad the tailor. I've seen dad sell ideals. That's a popular drink here in Belize. I've seen that the real estate agent. I've seen him the consultant. I've seen him the academic, and so it's that has been the foundation really for what I think has developed into what we have today. He has taught me that you are not afraid of hard work.
Yeah.
I can remember being a 7-year-old boy mixing concrete on the sidewalk for the tiles that he's laying inside the house.
Yeah.
He's built a few of our houses, right? And I have been right there with him. I was his only son at the time. My little brother came along later on, but it was always working, and getting stuff done. So I think that I want to say that is the foundation for
It's
for,
good.
for what happens today.
That's good. That's good. And it's interesting. Interesting you mentioned on Sheldon, because one, you were in an environment um, that kind of foster that, and but a lot of people don't have that environment. A lot of people
Right.
don't necessarily come from that. And so what would you say to someone who maybe they haven't come from a environment with a foundation
Yeah.
that you had? What
Yeah.
would you say to them?
Uh, it's I don't want to say it's easy,
Yeah.
but I do want to say it is something that can be developed. I was looking at a joke or a meme the other day, saying that if you forgive my language, but if you hang with 5 idiots, you're going to be the sixth, right?
Yeah.
But if you hang with 6 geniuses, you'll probably end up being the seventh as well. So,
Yeah.
and your company is important. What you put in your mind is important. Take for example a simple application, and I'm not advocating for Pinterest, but something like Pinterest. You look at
Yeah.
one thing, right, and 10 more come right behind that of what you're
Yeah.
looking. So it's important to fill your mind with the things that you want to grow in, right? And so you need to develop yourselves. There's just so much technology available at our hands, so many tools that you can use to develop yourself. And
Yeah.
so Google, your cell phone is right there. Everybody has data on their phone or Wi-Fi somewhere, and you can get this information and start to develop yourself into the areas that you
I
want to
love
go.
that. I love that. So management of your time, management of what you consume,
Yes, exactly.
management of what you're eating, what you're feeding your mind, what you're feeding your eyes, what you're
Exactly.
feeding your brain. It's so important, and I totally agree with that. That's awesome. So let's go back to you talk about the foundation, mom, dad, and your faith. You talk about the principles, the discipline from a young age. Not being, I love what you said, not being afraid of hard work. And
Right.
that's so key. A lot of people are afraid of hard work,
Right.
but it's
Right.
being willing to do the grind. And so
Yeah.
how did it all start to come together for you in terms of your first venture, and then how did that grow from there?
Okay. Um, it's quite a funny story. You mentioned it in your introduction,
Yeah.
that I used to be your barber,
Yeah.
right? And so, as a young boy, about 11 years old, um, my mom used to cut her hair, right? We used to get the best haircuts, right, Mom? Okay, so I always wanted to do my little brother's hair. And I was like, Mom, let me do his hair, let me do his hair. And for a while the answer was no, because I was quote unquote too young and I'd probably
Yeah.
make a mistake, etc. So finally Mom gave in and she allowed me to do his hair, and I did a great job. Right. So I got the job, right? I started to do it. Before you know it, I had his little friends coming over to the house, uh, the little kids from the neighborhood coming over to the house, right? And I'm using mom and dad's electricity. And if our viewers know anything about Belize, electricity is our number one most expensive utility, right? So mom said, "Well, son, maybe you should charge. Maybe you should charge a little something." And I'm like, "Okay, mom. We're gonna charge $2, mom. $2 a cut." So there we go. We start with $2, and she bought me my first set of clippers,
Wow.
right? And I had those things for many years. So fast forwarded, the guys from school started to come over, right? So every evening after school in high school, there would be 4 or 5 guys waiting to get their haircut at my house on my mom's veranda, right? So mom circles back with the conversation again. Son, I think that $2 might be a little bit too cheap. Right? And there I was having the time of my life because my friends are there, and barbershop environment, laughing, talking, and
Yeah.
getting things done, making a little bit of money, and just doing what I do. So at that time, I used to get my haircut at the only professional barbershop in town, in the city, Pino's Barbershop, right?
Mhm.
And so one of the barbers that was there, one of the junior barber, he was leaving for the States, Francis Waters, and I'd like to big him up here on the show tonight.
Yeah.
And so he used to cut my hair, but he was leaving. And so Pino, Roger Pine, who owned the shop, he said, Sheldon, I heard that you have quite a nice little following at home, right? And I'd like to offer you an opportunity to come and cut in the shop. I'm like, well, I'm sure, but I'm going to school, and I can only come in the evenings, and then I come on Saturdays. And he's like, fine, no problem, that's fine. I just need somebody to fill the chair. He says, all you have to do is pay me $10 every day that you work. Right. At that time, the going rate was $8 a cut and $10 a cut for men. 8 was for boys and 10 for men. So for me, okay, cutting 4 or 5, having to pay 8 to 10%, right, of that money. Okay, it's far more than I was making at home
Yeah.
anyway at two
Yeah.
dollars at $2 a cut. So the math was pretty simple there, right? And on Saturdays you had the opportunity to make 150 bucks if you really try. And at that time, of course, that was a lot of money for me. And I'm like, sure, let's do it, right? So there we went, and that was really the start of a professional barbering career. And I will say that first job has taught me so many things, right?
Yeah.
You learn communication skills, right? Apart from the actual creative skill of cutting somebody's hair, you learn how to communicate because you're dealing with 10 to 15 different people for
Yeah.
half an hour to an hour in your chair every day, right?
Wow.
So you learn people, you learn how to manage money, right? You learn that, okay, I need to budget because I have to pay my rent, etc., etc. And so that really was the start of the first job
I
for
love
me.
that. Yeah.
And it actually, I won't say it paid my way through the rest of high school, but it paid its way for my personal stuff through high school.
That's
Mom and
good.
dad made sure that I had my education, but everything else I was able to afford because of the
That's good.
money
I
that I
love
made.
that. I love that. Sheldon, I'd like to dive a little bit. If you could tell me a little bit more. You talked about the skills and the principles you learned through that job. If we can go a little bit deeper there, because I think there are some nuggets maybe that
Oh yes,
others can really draw from that. Especially you talk about the people skills,
definitely.
and reading people, because a lot of business is really dealing with people and people management, right? So let's talk a little bit about that. Like if you can share, like what's one of the most profound principles, profound memory that kind of stood out to you, that you learned something that you're even using right now?
Interesting question. um, it's not something that gets old,
Yeah.
right? I think that is what is really important here. Communication. You'll hear it a lot, but to really understand what communication is, right? You have to really connect with that person.
Yeah.
Forgive the analogy, but bartenders go through the same thing. A lot of guys go there emotionally and end up talking to the to the bartender. Now, if you're in a similar position, you do the same thing to your barber, right? So having that fundamental understanding of how to communicate to different people gives you an opportunity, and I'll probably say this word many times tonight, gives you an opportunity to be able to serve that person at the point of their need, right? Which is a successful tool for you as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Because many times when you're starting out as an entrepreneur, your product isn't selling itself,
Yeah.
right? You have to be the one to sell that product to somebody, right? And so that is where your linguistics come into play, right? Your words, you have to be able to share experiences and be able to talk your way into somebody's life
Yeah.
and make a difference with them, for them
Yeah.
with your product.
I love that. Last week we had a really awesome guest, and she talked about the KLT. And what you're seeing is what I'm hearing. They got to know you, they got to like you, and they got to trust you, pretty much. And that's that communication and linguistic skills we're talking about. So let's fast forward a little bit.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about all the different ventures you currently have going, and then we're going to dive a little bit into that and
Okay.
kind of the management aspect of those things.
Okay, so we're fast forwarding pretty much to 25 years.
Yeah.
I am the co-owner, along with my wife, of the Arnold Group Limited and also Arnold Enterprises. Beneath that company, we have a few businesses. One of them is known as the Serene Sunset Funeral Home. There's another simply known as Sheldon NC Arnold, which is the auctioneering branch of the company. There is the other called Blings Barbering and Beauty Supplies. That's the one that has sprung off from my previous barbering life. There is trophies and award supplies, and then there's now what we're working on is called Cadence Pro. It's a cycling product supply company. Also, I will make mention that I am also full-time employed by a multinational company by the name of Vacasa. Right? Vacasa is a vacation rental company that has set up shop in Belize and is known as Vacasa Belize Limited. So I am also the full-time senior general manager for that business. So that is the full lineup of what I do today.
Man, that's awesome. That's a lot. And tonight, guys, if those who are just tuned in again, feel free to comment if you have questions. Feel free to chime in and send it in. But tonight we're talking about creating multiple streams of income. And Sheldon, you've obviously been effective about doing this. And tell us, with all the ventures that you have, and I'm asking these questions because one, we want to make sure that people have the tools to manage, to grow their business, to succeed in their entrepreneurial ventures, as well as kind of have the right mindset. So let's start with the mindset. What does a typical day look like for you in terms of looking at all these ventures and managing all these ventures? When do you sleep? Someone asked. Harrison Cooper says, "When do you sleep?"
Okay, so it's at the point now where it's manageable by quote unquote normal term. There were times when, yes, I was getting 4 or 5 hours a night, when I needed to adjust to maybe something new that needed my nurturing. I think what's pertinent to talk about now is how you go about doing it.
Yeah.
for me, I was fortunate enough to have been able to start that early, right? Which has been an important factor, right, in the ramp up to everything else that has happened. I have had 25 years to work,
Mhm.
right? So when I moved on from physical barbering, right, the opportunity presented itself to provide barbering supplies to the barbers. I loved it so much that I
Yeah.
wanted to still be a part of that. So I went that road and started to do that. Um, what you have to be ready for is some level of sacrifice,
Yeah.
right? If you are going to succeed, you will have to put in your time. That there's no two ways about that part. However, the scale at which you do it is essentially up to you, right? But what is also important is that sometimes as an entrepreneur, a single business will not pay for itself,
Yeah.
right? It may work today and tomorrow, but next week nothing is happening,
Yeah.
right? So what you need to establish is a primary form of income, right? Something that is stable, right? Now, I've had full-time jobs for all my life,
Yeah.
right? Until I was stable enough where I could go on my own and started to develop the Arnold Group Limited, right? And even then, it was clear that these businesses in the first 3 or 4 years, in any case, could not survive on their own. So while you have your primary income, take your hobby, take something that you love, right? And start to figure out how you're going to market this product or this service, right? And make some money. Okay? It's already something that you love, so the passion is there already. So there is no extra marketing that you might have to do to show somebody how much you love
Yeah.
this product and stand behind this product or service. So primary income, it's important to keep you going, to keep your family going, to keep the investment that you're planning on doing going, right? And when that succeeds, right, you move on to the next one, right? You will continue to grow as an individual throughout your lifetime. You'll have different passions, you'll have
Yeah.
different experiences, and start thinking of ways and start filling your mind with possibilities of growing something, right?
Yeah.
For me, success has no longer been about making money. At a point in my life, yes, and I think it probably goes that way for almost anybody. You want to make the money, and that's
Yeah.
that's fine. We do need money to survive and to feel comfortable if we want to go that road. But it has no longer been about making money, but more about making the people that I interact with happy and
Mm.
fulfilling something inside me that wants to progress. So that's basically what it is for me.
I love it. I love it. Very, very good insight. Primary income, identifying that primary income, and then uh, venturing out in these other ventures and grooming it, making it grow. I love that. I love that. Sheldon, tell us, because you've been saying a lot about opportunities, and opportunity came, and then this opportunity came, and how do you identify an opportunity? Because something can look good, but it's taking you off course. It's taking you off your vision. It's taking you off your direction. How do you identify an opportunity, and then how do you get it off the ground?
Okay. So identifying an opportunity means that you first of all have to keep your eyes open,
Mm.
right? There are times that I speak to high school kids when they're choosing a career. And one of the key things that I keep talking about is look out for the opportunities that will come. And so it goes back to the same Pinterest example that I gave you, right? If you are looking at certain things, more of it will come,
Mm.
right? So if you are focused somewhere else, then you won't see the opportunity that just passed you, right? So it's not a magic formula, right? But it's more of a mindset where what you're looking at, YouTube, Google, Facebook, they are going to feed you more of what you're looking for. So be
Yeah.
sure to put yourself in the position. For example, if somebody tells me a word that I don't know, the first thing I do is go and look it up. Right? Even sometimes within the same conversation, I
Yeah.
look it up and I know what it is. That is knowledge gain. That's another possible opportunity in the future. So keep looking out for the opportunities. Then when you're satisfied that this is an opportunity that I would like to pursue, right? Or not, then you go to the next level. What if it's a product? What raw materials do I need? Secondly, is there anybody else doing it in the area? Do I have competition? Right? What will it cost to get XYZ off the ground? So you start to do your feasibility studies, your marketing studies, talk to your friends, talk to your family, talk to people that you hold in high regard, mentors, people that have been there before.
Yeah.
That's something pretty important. So when you have all those all that information in place, then you're ready to make the next decision making process. Will I go ahead with this?
Very good, man. Very, very good, Sheldon. I am learning. I'm drawing a lot from this as well, right? Because I'm an entrepreneur. I have a lot of ventures. You know me. My
Yes.
hands are in a lot, and I think any
Yes.
true entrepreneurs, that's what's going on. And the drive. I love what you said. The drive really isn't about making money. That's a byproduct, but money is just a fuel to get you to a destination.
Right.
Money is just a fuel to kind of get us where we need to go. Having an impact and having us reach those visions and those goals, I think that's the biggest thing that
Right.
drives us. I have two questions I have for you. The first one is along the lines of, um, even as you're talking about all these different ventures and what you have going, um, besides having caffeine to keep you going, what can you say? What can you say in terms of the management structure?
Okay.
What kind of management structure do you use to keep all these different ventures going?
Excellent question. And you're absolutely right in asking. I did miss this when you asked it the first time. The For a long time when I went on my own, I was the only person inside my office at the time, right? And having that hands-on experience, right, made me learn the business inside and out, whatever the venture was at the time. And
Yeah,
so I gained that knowledge that was necessary. Obviously, my wife has been there by my side from the beginning, right, and she has provided all the necessary support. She has also provided her expertise. She is an accountant by trade and an excellent one at that. And so she has provided her management skills as well to help us grow the business to where it is today. After that, we moved into hiring assistants. So we went from assistants to office personnel to clerk to managers necessary to run the businesses. So it's really a 25-year-old set of growth processes
very
that
good.
it doesn't come overnight, and you definitely don't want to rush it, or else you find that okay, you made a mistake that could be costly, right?
Yeah,
So I try to allow things to grow naturally. I don't like to rush by my nature, and I allow things to grow naturally.
nice, nice. So we have two questions coming in from our audience. So let's get the first one up. This is from Harrison Cooper. So not every venture is successful. So how do you deal with the failures? So true, because the failures do come. How do you deal with it?
All right, so it's having an understanding that not everything is at that specific time of your life, right? Some things are before their time. Many entrepreneurs come into this world way before their
Yeah,
time.
it's
They
true.
have these wonderful ideas, excellent
Out of
plans,
time.
but it just wasn't
I
ready,
love that.
right? So you need to understand that sometimes it just won't work, right? And when you use the model that I explained, having a platform, sometimes it is a failure, but you don't have to let it die, right? You
Yeah,
don't have to let it die, because when that's not working, the other one is booming, right? And you have that service there available for anybody that needs it whenever they need it, right?
yeah,
And you are able to meet that person at the point of their need. So I won't say that I've ever failed at a business. If I look at barbering when I was a youngster, it wasn't a failure, but I moved on. I moved on from it.
Yeah.
School and life. It was just a different. It was a different level of business that I needed to get to after school and life. So
Yeah.
it wasn't a failure, but it wasn't for me at that time. Right. So I hope I
Very
answered
good.
Harrison's question
Very good.
correctly.
I believe you did. The next question we have from Abner Valladares. He says, actually, our content expert sharing earlier. Thank you, Abner, for giving insight and adding value to the show. He says, please share how to best. Sorry, please share how to best fund these different ventures. Most people believe that because they don't have money, that borrowing is the only way. Very, very good question.
Very good question indeed, and Abner, you had to be the one to ask this, right?
The accountant.
Yes, the accountant. Actually, the reason for me stressing that you need your primary form or primary source of income is for this reason exactly, right? I do not push people to go into financial debt. I just don't, right? Honestly, I have been involved in auctioneering for a very long time, and I have actually seen many damage or much damage from things that go wrong with financial institutions. So I make it an effort not to push anybody into debt, right? I make an extra effort to tell them to
Yeah.
save from your primary source of your income, right? Develop a nest egg that you can start small, right, and then develop as you go along, right?
Very good.
I encourage people to invest conservatively, right? Don't blow your savings on one idea, right? For some people, yeah, that might work, a big risk and a big reward. But if you lose all your finances in one shot, then where
Yeah.
are you? You've lost years of hard work.
Yeah.
So don't invest conservatively until you're comfortable, until you're confident that you're ready for a bigger investment.
Very good.
I also want to point out that Abner's question might be more geared towards starting something really big,
Hmm.
right? If you are going to go that route of getting full financing from a financial institution, I encourage people to protect themselves, form a company, right? A limited liability company. What it means is that your liability becomes limited to that company, and it's not necessarily you as a person. The company becomes the entity in which the financial institution is lending the money to. So that's another tip that you
Very
should
good.
follow if you're thinking of going on a larger
Very
level.
good. Thank you, Sheldon. Very great tips. Very good advice. Again, guys, thank you so much for the questions that's coming in. We appreciate you being a part of this discussion. We have another question that came in from Miss Melanie Escalante. Two questions, actually. You mentioned sacrifice. What does sacrifice look like to you? Other than money and personal growth as payoffs, what else would you say made your sacrifice worthwhile?
All right. Thank you for the question, Melanie. Sacrifice means hours most of
Yeah.
the time. Putting the time in. I enjoy cycling of late. You know, I am up at 5 a.m., 4:30 a.m. just to go and get my exercise in. After that, then I am on my messages, answering work messages. From there, it's all meetings all day. Continue with the messages, emails, dealing with situations. And when I first transitioned back into full-time work mode, I was running almost 17 hours a day, just behind the laptop and trying to get things done. Now, I don't recommend that to anybody,
Yeah.
but sometimes sacrifice teaches you how to push further, push your limits, and get more results, and results that are necessary for you to succeed. Right? the second question, could you just repeat that for me, Mervin?
Sure. It says, what else would you say made your sacrifice worthwhile?
Okay. I honestly think that, and I want to go into my philosophy on success. I want to talk about the funeral home. When I went on my own and I became my own boss at the time, I had these dreams because at that point I was a furniture salesman, and I knew everything about sales. I knew how to tell you what is so excellent about this piece of furniture and make you want to buy it, and it doesn't matter how much it costs, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Right? And so I came with the mentality that I am going to sell this funeral service and this casket, right, to this family. It was my first family, and I will never forget the experience that I had. A gentleman walked in with his sister. She had unfortunately lost her husband, and it was my first client. I remember the name up until today. We had these caskets behind the curtain, and when they walked in, my mind was in furniture salesman mode, right? Unfortunately.
Yeah.
And so I lead the lady up to the parlor section, and I opened the curtain. Before I could give my pitch, as us salesmen try to do, right? The lady fell on the floor, weeping, sobbing, in tears uncontrollably. It was in that moment where I realized that what I am doing here has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
Or with whatever I am trying to sell an individual, right? And it was in that moment where I made the personal decision that the success that I am seeking is to provide the best service to a family that walks through my doors, right? And to give them everything that they need in this terribly tragic time,
Yeah.
right? And to ensure that they get everything that I can provide them. Because when you're suffering in that time, you can't think straight.
Yeah.
You don't know what's happening. People have to make decisions for you. And so using that philosophy, I was able to develop my own success. It was no longer about money. It became about people. And
It's
so
good.
I used that same idea, and this was more than 10 years ago, in everything else that we had. If we carried over the philosophy, right, to be able to treat people with love, treat people with respect. Anybody that walks through our doors, whether it's for a small donation, whether it's for bigger business, we treat them with the same level of respect, and we want that when they finish their time with us, that they can look back and say, yes, I was
Yeah.
really taken care of by the Arnold Group Limited and the Arnold Enterprises, and that's the best form of success that I could ever hope for. So that is what the success means for me, and the hours of sacrifice and planning the different models and making sure that the business run XYZ way, and putting all the fundamentals in place. That's what it means to me.
Man, I love it, Sheldon. This is gems, and I those who are tuning, I trust that you're extracting the gems, because especially in a time when, like, we're in the world, we're in a time in the world right now where a lot of people are suffering, a lot of people have lost their jobs. It's just a crazy time because of this pandemic. So more now than ever, as entrepreneurs, as business, we have an opportunity to step up to the plate and to really meet people in a respectable way, in a great way, right? So I really applaud that philosophy, and I hope that more business will take it on. We have two more questions that we can take before we're almost out of time, and we have one more guest that we do want to bring on. So from Mr. Wayne Bardalis, what are the alternatives in financing a business? And I know you meant earlier we talked about financing, and you would encourage people to go to a firm if they don't have to. But what are some of the other alternatives?
My good friend Wayne from Forest Home. It's been almost 10 years since I've seen Mr. Wayne, but I appreciate the question, sir. Alternative forms of financing. One, your primary source of income, developing that nest egg and using that to supply. Other than that, it would be securing investment through partners, developing a company, getting different investors on board, and that way that you're sharing the risk. You don't have to use all of your personal funds. That's one of the safer ways to go if you're not using your own. And then other than that, it's depending on your age or your relationship with your family members and parents, etc. You can do a personal loan, right, from family members, etc. Like I said, I'm not an advocate for borrowing, because it can be a slippery slope. So be careful with that. But those are my answers for that question.
Very good, very good. Thank you, Sheldon. We have 5 more minutes with Sheldon, and we want to extract everything we can from you before you go. So the next question that came in from Monique, she says, Sheldon, thank you for your insight. How do you support budding entrepreneurs?
Very, very good question, Monique. It goes back to that same thing that I mentioned, that anybody who comes through my doors, right, are looked at with respect and love. Yeah. And if you need a hand with something, if I can help you, I will help you. I'm not saying that I will set your business up for you or anything like that, but I will give you the best advice that I can give you. If I see that, yes, this needs money and I'm in the position to help out with some money, I will do that. I will tell you that Mervyn and I have spent some time on the Belmopan Business Association, and it was geared towards projects just like that, right? Yeah. And so we have a listening ear and open eyes for that. We have an affinity for that. So our doors are open. I'm pretty sure I'm speaking for Mervyn in this.
Yes, it's true. Like that. Well, that's why we're doing this show as well. We wanna be a resource for entrepreneurs, for small business, to inspire them, to motivate them. Especially right now in this time, a lot of people are discouraged. They don't know where to turn, and so this is an avenue for us to have one-on-one discussion with you at a large scale, because we can't connect with every single person one-on-one all the time, but with this platform, hopefully we can provide resource for you that you can run with and empower your business. Sheldon, I have one more question for you, and this is a question from me.
Let me just make a pledge. Sure. Let me just make a pledge right now to anybody listening. Feel free to message me. Feel free to share your thoughts with me. I will give you my best advice. And don't worry about the confidentiality is there. I will respect your idea. So I make that pledge to you right here, right now. I might not know you as yet, but it'd be a pleasure to get to know you and connect with forward-thinking entrepreneurs. Sorry,
very good.
Please go ahead.
No problem. And Sheldon's contact information is running on the bottom. So if you want to contact him, and we're going to keep that up for a while so that you guys can reach out to him and just be in touch with him. You said earlier, Sheldon, about mentorship and getting insights in that sense from others. How do you, because we hear about mentorship all the time, but how do you as an individual, and how do you advise someone as an individual to prepare themselves for mentorship so that they can get the best value, the best knowledge, the best insight when they come in contact with a mentor?
All right. So to prepare yourself when you come in contact with a mentor is to be able to truthfully share with your mentor what your thought process is, what your mindset is. That way, that mentor can properly address you with the right level of communication. Because if you're not able to communicate, as I've been saying most of tonight, if you're not able to share what you want, then you're not getting the right information back. It's almost like if you go to the doctor and you give the doctor the wrong set of symptoms, the doctor is going to give you a different prescription. So you have to be very open when you meet with a mentor. You have to pretty much know your mentor, obviously, know your mentor's history, be able to also add to a conversation, right? So that mentor has a relationship with you. Many times the people that are your mentors are busy people, right? I will be honest that my mentors, right? I have just been around them. I haven't necessarily shared my dreams with them or anything, but I've just been around them, and I'd like to take a moment to mention a few of them. Obviously, mom and dad were the first. My first employer was the late Richard Sidney Harrison, one of Belize's great entrepreneurs. Robert Bobby Lopez happens to be my father-in-law, a great pioneer in Belize. Rodolfo Rudy Science, he's my regional director at this moment for Vacasa. And these guys are all visionary people that I look up to.
Very good.
Right. I also want to mention Louis Wade. He happens to be my brother-in-law. He has ventured into new entrepreneurial initiatives lately. So, these are people that I look up to. I watch. I see what we're doing, right? And I'm proud of them. And I want to be able to contribute to society and the world in the same way that they've been doing
Very
over
good.
the years.
Awesome. And Sheldon, thank you so much. Thank you so much for all the nuggets that you've given us. And I know those who tuned in, I know some folks were like looking, okay, how do I get this idea? I want to do this. And I believe Sheldon gave you guys what you really need. It's the mindset. It's the mindset and the way of thinking that will help you build to success, right? And so thank you again, Sheldon. It was a pleasure. And as Sheldon said, his door is open. Feel free to connect with him, reach out to him. Sheldon, we got to bring you back because there's tons more questions that I have. And I didn't even get to my list of questions, all of them, but that's great. I'm glad that our audience were able to really ask questions and reach out to you. Thank you so much for coming on and just being open and pouring out your life to us.
It was my pleasure. Merv, I know we're on time, but if I can just wrap up with a quick paragraph,
Sure.
Just for everybody that has been listening. I've kind of condensed everything that I've said here tonight into a couple sentences. First of all, you have to, if you want to walk away with, okay, what did I learn today, right? Think about your ideas. Think about what you want to do, right? But don't think for too long because somebody else is thinking as well. And if they think faster than you, you're going to be in trouble, all right? So start small. Start with something that you love, something that you're passionate about. If you're passionate already, that takes out half of the struggle, all right? Create a foundation, right? Create a base, and the base is what will keep you going in tough times. During the pandemic, so many businesses have failed. If you have a couple of them, chances are one of them is going to take you through, right? So make sure you pick a good foundation, pick a good base, right? And figure out, this is probably the most important one, figure out what success means to you. If it's money, fine. If it's keeping people happy, fine. But figure out what you want to do with your success and what it means to you. So I know we're winding out of time, Mervyn.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks a lot, Sheldon. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. And apologies, Nicole. I know you sent in a question. We didn't get to it, but what we'll do, I'll reach out to Sheldon. We'll try to see how we can get some more of these questions answered behind the scenes. Follow our page on Instagram, on Facebook. Follow our page, our website, Creative Monday Discussion Show. We're trying to wrap up all of these content and put them in a spot that you can access them. Guys, we're almost out of time, but I want to, we've been talking about multiple income stream. We've been talking about mindset, and I want to bring up an individual. We don't typically do promotions on our show. We talk to entrepreneurs and we unpack their story. But she's doing such an amazing initiative, and we had to bring her on to talk to us a little bit about it. So can we bring on Lorcia? She's Lorcia. She was actually a guest in season 2, I believe, or season 1 of the show. Good evening, Lorcia. We're almost out of time. We literally have about 5 minutes. So tell us what you're doing. Talk to us and give the public insight into what you're doing and how they can, especially female entrepreneurs, can tap into some training for building multiple income streams.
Okay, good night, everyone. Good night, Mervyn, and thank you for having me on the show. I know I only have a couple minutes, so I'll be as quick as possible. So my name is Lorcia, and I'm the owner of Naturally Belize Cosmetic, and we're a social for-profit business. And what that means is that we use a portion of our profit to give back to the community. Tonight, I want to talk about a workshop that I'm hosting, and the title is Creating Multiple Income Streams for Women in Belize. So the workshop is targeted for women And what you can expect to learn from this workshop. Let me mention one quick thing first is that this workshop stemmed from a Young Leaders of America initiative, along with my own passion as an entrepreneur to share the knowledge that I have gained along the way. And the objective of the webinar is to promote social media marketing, building a profitable funnel, and selling like crazy using different sales channels. For me, 2020 and bringing the start at 2021, I really had to develop multiple income stream in my business to be able to survive as an entrepreneur. And I feel like these strategies that I have developed would be beneficial to more female entrepreneurs out there. Yeah, to kind of wrap up, I want to say that I'm an avid viewer of Mervin's show, and this is something that I got from the last speaker, Jamila. She had a point that really, really resonated with me, and it said to shift mindset towards sale. In Belize, I feel that we're not as much aggressive towards sale, and this is where mindset has to change to really be a bit more aggressive in sales and pushing to make that extra income. I also wanted to point out a point from Sheldon about finding what you love and going from there, because this workshop is about finding your niche. You can break down that niche into sub niche, and from there we're going to create strategies around that niche to earn income.
Very good. Lorcia, tell us, how can people register, participate to be a part of this seminar on female entrepreneurs?
Okay, so you can email me at naturalbelizecoconut@gmail.com, and I will email you back with the link and all the information you need.
Very good. Well, thank you so much, Lorcia. And I want to encourage all the female entrepreneurs to take advantage of this opportunity. I've been a part of many such webinars and training, and I can tell you the knowledge gain definitely is valuable, right? And so thank you, Lorcia.
Yeah.
Thank you for
too.
sharing.
Good night.
Good night. And I guess we're going to have the flyer up a little bit, but register for it for females in this time. Get out there and get the tools and the resource that you need, guys. Tonight was amazing. We needed more time. There was so much more I know we could have talked about. There were so many questions we didn't get to, but that excites me, and that's what the show is about. For those who are new to the show, I want to welcome you. We've been doing this over a year, and the show is all about creatives transforming lives. It's all about inspiring, motivating, and transforming others, talking to entrepreneurs who are willing to really peel back the curtain on their lives and say, hey, this is why I'm here. See, success leaves clues, and so let's talk to those who are having success and draw from the clues from them. Next week, Monday, we will be back, and we're continuing along this topic and theme of income and generating revenues, especially in this time. So next week we'll be talking about how to turn your passion into an income stream. We have a recent friend of mine from the US who will be joining us, and she is amazing. I met with her. She's doing some amazing stuff. She has so many degrees as a doctor. She's a musician. She's a CPA. She has so much wealth of information that she's willing and ready to pass on to you. So tell your friends, invite them to be a part of the show. Every Monday night, we're here 7 p.m. on TNC. We're also streaming in Antigua and Barbuda and Solar Rise TV, and we're in Europe and the Caribbean region on Carib Invest TV. Shout out to our friends on Carib Invest TV, Solar Rise TV, and TNC as well. So I want to say God bless you. Have a great evening. Be sure to go to the creativemondayshow.com and watch the rerun. Pause the episodes and draw from it everything that you can draw from it. Take care. I'm Mervin Budram, and I'll see you again next week, Monday. God bless you.